This episode of Nintendo Expansion Pass is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support our family of podcasts, head over to patreon.com/bossrushmedia or search for us on the Patreon app on your smart device. Thanks for helping us build something better. Hello everybody, welcome to Nintendo Expansion Pass here on Boss Rush Games. I'm your host and Latte Excited Eddie V. Joining me is the one, the only Bossman himself, Mr. Corey Derrick. Hello.
Hello, I'm trying to be cheerful even though the Browns are not doing well today. Hello.
Yes, Corey is watching the latest Browns game.
Oh, it's so bad. Somehow we're only down by 4. Anyways, hi Ed, we're here to talk Nintendo, not terrible football teams.
Yes, we are here to talk about Nintendo and things about that company. So, Corey, you mentioned last week when we was talking about the Nintendo Direct that you wanted to have kind of a prediction show about the Switch 2 launch lineup. And so I kind of want to ask you, let's put 10 games that would come out on the Switch 2 as a release launch lineup.
All right. So yeah, I mean we talked about the Switch 2 a lot recently. Apparently, I mean it's a hot topic, right? I mean everybody's ready. I don't think people are done with the Switch per se, but it's always exciting when Nintendo's about to put out a new piece of hardware. And I think that once we figure out what this thing is, people are just going to be like, okay, it's time to retire the Switch. Arguably Nintendo's best piece of hardware ever. I don't think it's that hard to argue that. The Switch 2, obviously they've have briefed companies even as early as mid 2022 with in terms of what Activision Blizzard has released via their court case with obviously Microsoft's buying them because I think they want to put Call of Duty on the console. I think that would be a big boon for Nintendo. Microsoft has said as much that they want to put it on Nintendo's platforms, and it's a device that I think you and I are both looking forward to. Power specs have ranged anywhere between, a little bit more powerful than the Xbox One and PS4 to almost on par with an Xbox Series or PS5. I think it's probably going to fall somewhere in between there. Probably on the lower end, but definitely in between, especially when you can see what the Steam Deck does and a lot of these handheld PCs, right? Like the ROG Ally is pretty powerful. The Lenovo device that's coming out soon is probably going to be just as powerful as one of these consoles. So, this is an important piece of hardware. Nintendo, I think, has to be really smart about how they deliver this console, and I think the way they're going to do it, obviously, is through games, both first and second party, and obviously try to gain third party support on this thing. So yeah, I think it's important to discuss what games we think are going to launch or come within a launch window. I've had some new thoughts based on this last Nintendo Direct of what might be coming earlier than, or maybe for the first time in 25 years might be coming to this new console. So let's talk about it. How many games are we doing? 5 each? 10 total? Or
we could do 5 each.
Okay. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I will go first. So my number 5, and we talked about this during the Nintendo Direct. I think the Tomb Raider trilogy is coming to Switch 2, or Switch Deluxe is what I call it.
The new ones, right?
Yeah, the reboot ones. I literally think that whole because we're getting the original ones remastered on Switch, and I think we got like the PS2, Xbox era of those games. I think they'll also come along. I think to the regular Switch, depending on how long Switch 2 is going to uh not be announced at this time. I think the trilogy would definitely be a good release for it, given all the DLC, all the bells and whistles and stuff. And if there any if they need to tweak and improve some more stuff, I will play that original trilogy on Switch Deluxe. Like I that's $60 if we still go on let's still go to the $60 price point. If they still have that thing for $60, I will pay that much for for it. So my number five is going to be Tomb Raider trilogy.
Yeah, especially because like they're obviously remastering the original trilogy. I kind of wish they would have put the the Tomb Raider Chronicles, and what was the last the fourth one, the last something, I forget what it was. But yeah, I mean, I think especially if those do well, and then I think there might be a chance that the Legend trilogy might come over as well. So I think that's probably a smart move. It also depends on how Embracer Group is doing at that point, and if Amazon is willing to play ball with the Tomb Raider franchise. Although I'm not 100% sure if they even own all of that. I was reading while we were recording Pow Block that there's still some sort of ownership with Crystal Dynamics and something called the CDA Group or something. It must be Crystal Dynamics, their kind of internal IP holdings company or something. So yeah, I mean, that's a good choice. All right. So my first choice is going to be an oddball one, but hear me out, everybody. I don't think it's coming on launch day, but I think it's coming within launch window, which could be like the first 3 or 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I know everybody wants Mario Kart to launch with the console, and I think it's going to come within the first year and a half. Mario Kart 9. But I also think that to hold people over, and with the reception of F-Zero 99, I think we're going to get some sort of F-Zero game, whether it's like a remix of, the N64 and GameCube games, whether it's some sort of new game, new package. I think we're going to get an F-Zero game. I think now is the right time. I think the launch of a new console is the right time, especially a launch of a new console that is coming off the heels of an amazing console, right? People are hyped for Nintendo now. Nintendo's good graces are high with fans. F-Zero 99 seems to have gotten some like a great reception. So I think F-Zero is coming. So
all right.
That's my first choice.
My number 4 it's going to kind of be literally a very odd one in a sense. I think they for some reason I think like Sekiro or one of the Dark Souls will come on this new console. I know we got Dark Souls 2 for Switch. I think
First one.
The first one. I think we'll get an upgraded version of the second and third one on Switch. If not, I kind of feel like Armored Core 6 will also come to Switch Deluxe.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if this was like a year or two ago, I would have said, yeah, sure, the other two Dark Souls games might be coming. But I think post Elden Ring, and Elden Ring was on Xbox One and PS4, don't forget. I would not be shocked if Elden Ring ended up coming to the new console if it's as powerful as they say it is.
Yeah, that's a big Bandai Namco choice though. I mean, I could see Elden Ring come to Switch also, the Switch Deluxe.
Yeah.
So,
I'm trying not to pick obvious ones here, but I think my second choice within a launch window, you're going to have some sort of multiplayer game. I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see Mario Party launch somewhere within the first couple months. You need a multiplayer game, you need a party game, you need something to show off what the console can do, whether it's, you know, some sort of motion or Joy-Con esque type things, right? You need something to show it off, and I think you're going to see, you know, I think they're going to have a packing game also, something along the lines of, I hope it's not 1-2 Switch, but I think you're going to see something along the lines of Wii Sports or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Maybe it's even Wii Sports Remastered or something. I don't know. But I think you're going to see some sort of packing game. And I just think they need that multiplayer game because Nintendo's all about the multiplayer experience, right? Especially couch multiplayer. So I think we're going to see something like that. Mario Party and a pack-in game.
Okay. For number 3, this one may this one's gonna be really hard, but I think EA would give them the Mass Effect trilogy.
That would be nice.
I because I know we're not going to get Star Wars and Jedi Fallen Order and the second one.
We could though, because they're porting that game to PS4 and Xbox One somehow, and it's on Steam Deck, right? I mean, Steam Deck obviously, Steam I think does a better job of scaling those games down.
I still feel like Nintendo and EA don't got a good relationship.
Yeah, but a new console that's powerful, I think, could mend that relationship. I mean, you know, I think that could be mended, especially with the new regime at EA. You know, I think them making games specifically for Switch is definitely out of the question, but I think that if they ported stuff down, I think that would work. Especially older games, especially like something like Titanfall 2 or Fallen Order. Like, I definitely think that could happen. Don't be a party pooper, Ed.
I'm just gonna stick with the Mass Effect trilogy. That'd
be great.
I literally think that as far, I mean, some of the EA originals might come to Switch, Switch Deluxe, but I don't know if they're gonna be under the EA banner. It's just very, very odd. But I think Mass Effect trilogy will come to Switch. Switch Deluxe, I should say.
Let's see. My third one, and I want to point out that we're not going for like the obvious ones, because I still think like obviously Mario is definitely the obvious one. I think Metroid Prime 4 is an obvious one. I'm going to make people really mad about this, Ed, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think they're going to launch one of the Zelda games with it, like Twilight Princess or Wind Waker. I think they're going to launch Wind Waker HD with it sometime within the maybe that second month. I think they're holding on to those for this new console.
That would be good. That would really be good to get like a Zelda game out. If
it's obviously not going to be a new one, and you're not going to launch a new Zelda game alongside a new Mario game. But they still have games. I mean, they could port those. They could do HD remasters of the 3DS versions of those games, right? They could, you know, maybe do a HD remaster or remake of one of the 2D games. Like, there's a lot of Zelda stuff that they could launch that doesn't necessarily mean it's a new game, right? So I think the safe bet would probably be Wind Waker or Twilight Princess, right? I would prefer Wind Waker at this point. Not because I don't want Twilight Princess. I love Twilight Princess. I like it better than Wind Waker, but Twilight Princess has been on 3 consoles already. So, I mean, I think you're willing to wait for that. So that's my pick. It's an HD Zelda remake / remaster of some sort.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Because I know the Zelda team, they said they were thinking of the next Legend of Zelda game, like a brand new one. So to carry and hold them over, that would work.
What's Grezzo doing?
They're working on something. Who knows?
I know. What's your next pick, Ed?
So for my number two, I I think Monolith Soft's next new IP is going to be on there. I don't think it's going to be Xenoblade Chronicles 4. I think they moved their new game, their next IP to Switch Deluxe.
Well,
But
remember
it
one of our
is.
first early expansion passes talked about that concept art that leaked, and it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
Xenoblade. Like
Yeah.
this was like pre-current expansion pass. This was like old, like 2019 expansion pass. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think you could see that maybe within the first 6 months. I mean, if it, let's say this thing launches in like, I don't know, let's just say October.
Mm-hmm.
I think by February or March, you could see that. Put it in a window that not very many games come out.
Yeah. It's just outside of Metroid Prime 4. I mean, we still got the Fire Emblem game, whatever that comes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Pirate
we
Emblem.
Animal Crossing is probably not in the works yet. Splatoon 4, yeah, it's not in the works because of their DLC, but I think they're probably just thinking about it. And there's probably been some development movement. I think we just won't get the announce that year that it comes out. I think that following year they'll announce it or something like that.
Yeah.
But at this time, like, we're thinking of a next game. At this point in time, I think from within Nintendo, for me, it'd probably be something whatever Monolith Soft is working on. You know, and it's probably already further along. I think they're just waiting for the next system to be announced before it comes out.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, for me, a trying to think here. There's got to be something like super unexpected. Part of me wants to say Destiny. Also, part of me was hoping maybe Destiny will come in some portable fashion. I know it's portable on like the ROG Ally, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not native on Steam Deck. It's not native anywhere, really. So that would be my thought. And but I want to say, let's see. Man, I think whatever the new, I guess Assassin's Creed Mirage or whatever next year's Assassin's Creed would be a safe bet. Um, just because Ubisoft tries to put all their stuff, I think an Assassin's Creed will come next year. I think Ubisoft always tries to put their stuff on Nintendo consoles, at least at launch.
I think I might just throw in Valhalla in there too.
Yeah, but I mean I understand that we got the all the other games except for the first one on Switch, but like
But like our Origins and Odyssey, we don't have. But that's supposed to.
yeah,
But I think those probably games are down the line.
I
Will
mean
come.
that trilogy would be pretty cool.
Actually, that wouldn't be bad to drop Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, and Mirage. Mirage might
Hmm.
come down the line a little bit later, but to drop those three for launch games, I like a 3 pack maybe. I would be down for that for some reason.
Yeah.
Because I think Mirage coming on Switch Deluxe would also be great, but having like the the full game with all the DLC content, I think they probably will wait for that. But it's
Yeah.
Nintendo Ubisoft.
Yeah. Um let's see. What is this? Is this 4 for me?
Yeah,
5?
that was four for
Yeah.
us.
All right, Ed, it's your last one.
So goodness.
That's how I feel.
So
Oh,
I
I have a good
think
one.
I
Sorry, I'm talking to myself. I'm sorry.
no, you're okay. That's fine. Um, man, I was thinking of Monster Hunter, like a new Monster Hunter game. that not only comes to Switch Deluxe but also Xbox and PlayStation. I think by the time they get their new system, all I think all the Monster Hunter games will be out. I think they'll probably re-release Monster Hunter Rise uh,
You
with
think
all
that
the
late?
content
You don't
stuff.
think another Monster Hunter will be announced by then?
So I I think if I would say if they got the DSL or whatever that is, if they got it where it's patched and stuff that it upgrades to like the Series X and PlayStation 5 version, I think it was free. I think they would do that. But if you don't have that game and you want to play this, still play it, they will release it. That like they released the Switch Deluxe version all together. For it, just for as for like a launch game and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Uh, all right, Ed. Here's a hot one for you. I think we're going to get the Yakuza games. Some sort of rollout of the Yakuza games. I don't know if it's Kiwami 1 and 2. I don't know if it's 0. I don't know if they just start with 7 and 8. Like, I think we're
the
going
Like a
to...
Dragon series.
Yeah, I think we're going to get the... I think we're going to get... I bet they start with Yakuza Like a Dragon. And then maybe 6 months later, they'll do whatever the new one's called. Infinite Wealth, I think is what it's called. So I bet we get those. I'm going to say Nintendo's going to try to build their relationship back up with Sega. Not that they have a bad relationship, but like there's clearly games that don't come to Nintendo consoles, right? Yakuza's like the one that you point to. Phantasy Star Online definitely didn't come. So
Yeah. Fantasy Star I could probably see. I think because of the creator still having that mindset and opinion that Nintendo is a family friendly name, that they'll never bring it again. I mean, again, as in because of Yakuza 1 and 2 on Wii U didn't do so well because it was only Japanese exclusive. Um, he literally feels that Nintendo it's just not the right company to put any of the Yakuza games on. That's how he feels about it and everything. So if he changes his mind, I will agree. Yes, um, and stuff. It's just that I think because of the creator of that series, he wouldn't bring it to Nintendo, no matter how powerful the console is. I think because it's just a Nintendo, and he has that opinion for it, it won't come.
yeah,
And that's sad in a sense, because it's just like you are already you made a decision to not give that game a chance because of the past because of the past and your personal opinion about it. Yes.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, well, we talked about the games that are coming, right? I think obviously a lot of indies will join the party, and
Mm-hmm. I think Fortnite and Apex
clearly,
will come. I think Apex will come like down the line and stuff.
yeah. Well, I think it. I mean, Fortnite's going to be there day one. I can guarantee
Mm-hmm.
Fortnite will be there. I think a lot of the free to play games will be there within the first couple months. And I don't know how the backwards compatibility is going to work for this console. I mean, I think a lot of the indie games, especially or like free to play games or smaller games, will need some sort of patch to upgrade it more towards the Xbox and PlayStation versions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I play a lot of Disney Dreamlight Valley, which is technically a free to play game. It does not run well on the Nintendo Switch, but I play it there primarily. And I would love to see some sort of handheld version that runs like the Xbox versions, because I mean those are squeaky clean versions. There's major texture differences, lighting differences, for obvious frame rate differences. Like my character actually has hair on the Xbox version, where in the Switch version, it just looks like strings of clay they just laid on someone's head, right? Like, I mean, it's there's a pretty big difference, and that game does not look like it should push hardware that hard, right? So,
Mhm.
I don't know.
I
What do you think, Ed?
I think we're gonna finally get a cartridge version of the Kingdom Hearts trilogy and their side games. I think the cloud stuff that was on Switch, I think they're gonna get re-released like Control. I I I have a feeling that that game is gonna get a actual digital or physical release on Switch Deluxe. You know, and I think it's even if it's not, I would say probably Series S in that kind of version of stuff or something, the ultimate version. I think a lot of the cloud stuff that came to Switch Deluxe is going to be, I mean, that came to Switch is going to be on Switch Deluxe. So I can see Kingdom Hearts finally getting um that physical copy and running very well for Switch. And if it's possible that Square Enix be like, if you did buy the cloud version, you could transfer it to Switch Deluxe and it'll be the full game on your system. Like I can literally see that happen. Um, I think what would surprise me, really, going back to EA, um, I think like Dragon Age would be a big surprise if that appeared on the console. Um, Battlefield would be a big surprise if it came to the console. Like it and Madden. If but if like Madden came back to Nintendo's console, I would be surprised about that. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're gonna start seeing games like I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw Final Fantasy VII remake, which is rumored already, right, to come to that
yeah.
console. Uh, I think having strong titles like that will definitely reveal some sort of at least fidelity to the console. I know a lot of people think that Switch games don't look great from third parties, and Nintendo obviously has an art style that's not necessarily realistic in anywhere, right? I mean,
Yes.
Metroid might be the closest one that you would say that, which don't get me wrong, all their games look great. Nintendo knows how to stylize their games to their current hardware. But, Stephanie and I have talked about a Zelda that looks like Horizon Zero Dawn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a fully realized Hyrule with that level of fidelity, um, that level of animation. And I know Nintendo doesn't need it, and they're probably not going to ever do that. But like, if you could have a console that does that, or even even the next Xenoblade, right, could do some really visually stunning things, right? And
Oh heck yeah.
um, I just hope Nintendo
Which
knows what they're building and does something with it. I love Nintendo, but I'm kind of like, to be honest, I'm kind of tired of like, I mean, I love Breath of the Wild, right? But like, I would kill to see a Zelda game that looked like something like Horizon or close to it. We talk about
which
that Wii
I
U tech demo all the time. Where's the Zelda that looks like that?
which I think the Zelda team is waiting to see what Monolith Soft do, because if Monolith Soft is going to be the developer that helps the Zelda team to make that new Zelda. If Monolith Soft could get that kind of look to him, on it and everything, then I'll definitely be like, okay, we're going to see the same style or close to this style in in the next Zelda game and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Um, and that's gonna, I mean, that's gonna be up to Anuma, like really up to Anuma and everything. Yeah, I mean that Horizon style. Yes, I could see it. I would say Forbidden West style, um, because that game does look gorgeous. Um, but Nintendo may literally surprise us. But I literally think it's going to be up to the Monolith team to be like, oh, y'all want to get this detailed world and everything. okay, we could deliver it, but we got to make a game first so we can learn the system and what we're getting into. Okay, now that we learned it, we could share with you guys and probably improve on it. Because yeah, I would love to see that Zelda demo for GameCube. I think it was it GameCube?
Uh, Zelda demo,
Yeah.
the Wii U tech demo.
Oh, it was a Wii U Tech demo. I thought it was GameCube for some unknown
There
reason.
was a
Uh,
GameCube tech demo that looked like Ocarina of Time.
but the spider one was the Wii U one.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they could get that and get a little bit more detail, yeah. But I think the Zelda team is going to look at what Monolith Soft does, and I think because of that their new game, that could happen. I mean,
Hmm.
because I'm like, if you're gonna have graphics at the size of the PlayStation 5, yes, you could still have that Japanese flair, but I'm like, you could add some American realism to it, some magical realism to this.
Hmm.
I'm like, you guys are very phenomenal artists, so why not go in and do it? And
Hmm.
I know that would like balloon the budget, but like,
Yeah. I also think with this new console, like I think you're going to see games that have already been announced for the other consoles. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Metal Gear Solid Delta, the Snake Eater remake, it would
yeah,
be coming. I actually wouldn't be surprised if the new Star Wars game wasn't coming from Ubisoft. The open world one. I keep
Outlaws.
forgetting. Yeah, Outlaws. Thank you. Gosh, that game looks so good. I can't wait. Uh, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw something like Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad come from WB. Um, I think there's a lot that you could do with this new console just by having a little bit more power, right? That's always been the third party issue.
So Gotham Knights is supposed to be coming to Switch.
What? What
Gotham
game?
Knights.
Yeah, it was rated. It was originally in the story, in the news for PAL Block this week, but I removed it. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Um,
What was
but
the one that got delayed to next year? That everybody was
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. I think that one is coming to Switch. Do you
Yeah,
guys?
I definitely think that is. Also, like the next console needs some sort of better online infrastructure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I think this console's exciting. I can't wait till we start to really get to cover it instead of just doing rumors and stuff. Um, I hope this console is great. I mean, I always want every Nintendo console to be great, but I want this one to be great in a lot of different ways than we expect it to be, right? We know the first party games are going to be there. We know Nintendo's charm and their quality is going to be there. I want it to be great in terms of graphics and online infrastructure, third party games that look at least on par with their counterparts on the other consoles. And yeah, I mean, this console's exciting. I can't wait to see it.
Another game that can't just came to my mind was Dragon Quest 12.
Yeah,
I
that's a shoe in. I think.
I think that's going. Well, I think it's going to be a cross game. I think it's going to hit Switch and Switch Deluxe. And like you said, if Metro Prime 4 could do this, what could do a cross game, I would be surprised if they do that on Switch and Switch Deluxe. Like
Yeah,
Metro Prime being the like swan song for it, but I'm like I'm like it's kind of hard because I'm like, man, you got someone uh from the Battlefield team, you got someone from the Call of Duty team, someone from the Halo team. Those former people coming to retro to make it. I think they will hold that on come to Switch Deluxe. But if they could make it on Switch also, great. Do it.
yeah, yeah.
Good stuff. Uh man, the relationship with EA is just it's very questionable. But like you said, if they're under new management and stuff, uh, th- if EA is willing to work with Nintendo to build a relationship, EA is going to have to put out some games. And yes, I
I
can
mean,
understand
Madden's the
they
big
would.
one, right? I mean, also like current versions of FIFA, they need Madden on there. They need whatever other. I think the sports games are a shoe in for the next console. They have to
Mhm.
be, you know. I mean, you look at FIFA and Madden and how well they sell every year on the other consoles. I mean, like I said, even if Madden is as bad as it is this year, right? I mean, I didn't talk about it on Power Block, but man, that's a discussion for another day.
It's
I would be
I
more
heard
likely to
it's
buy
just
it
it.
and just play like the franchise mode on my console, on my handheld, right? Like that's really all I want. I think, I mean, even though we've been getting legacy versions of FIFA, they are
Mhm.
putting the newest one on Switch. We'll see what it looks like, but I mean, we were together when I bought FIFA for Switch that one day, and how I mean, it looked great on the Switch, and then we just
Yeah.
kept getting the same version. Uh, I also think something like Dead Space needs to come. Anything EA has put out in the last 2 or 3 years in some sort of capacity. That Immortals game that just came out that looks really awesome,
Yeah.
and that studio just laid off 45% of their team because it didn't sell anything.
Hopefully that hopefully that team stays open when Switch Deluxe comes out.
Yeah. Well, apparently they're already working on the next game. They've got funding for it, and laying off half your team probably saves you a lot of money. I hope those people find jobs, and I didn't mean to laugh at that, but that's like oh
Mhm.
boy, that's rough. They're not Embracer though, so I guess
And,
that's a plus.
and everybody see in that one, everybody's just like, well, why would you release a game between like coming out of Star? It, Starfield's release don't have anything to do with that. People just did not go out and buy that game.
Yeah,
Let's just put it. It's a new IP. It's EA's publishing it,
it's everything people beg for, and then nobody bought it.
right?
New
So I'm
IP,
like,
new AAA IP from a newer studio with funding from a AAA publisher. Man,
right,
I feel
and
so bad for them. Although I guess I
and
contributed to that because I didn't purchase it. But
and so I'm like, and people are not gonna. It's it's almost a little bit even with Armored Core 6. Like, and I'm not knocking From Software or anything. Like this, the series is back, but I'm like, I don't know how many that game has sold or anything. Like, if if it comes to sales for any kind of video games, it's mostly gonna be Nintendo. Like, guess what? Pikmin 4 is back at the top on the Japanese sales. Like, and I think you said, Corey, on one of the Power Blocks episodes that um the NPDs got a different name for the game for the
yeah, it
game
starts with a
sales
C. I
before.
don't remember what it starts with. I don't remember the name,
So,
but yeah,
so it's just like, if it comes to games being sold in America, we don't know. I basically have to go off the Japanese list
Circana
because
is what it's called. Sorry.
Sakana, the Japanese list because they're the ones that's getting reported. Like, I'm sorry, Final Fantasy 16. Yes, you did great, but Pikmin 4 is kicking the crap out of you. How is it still number one in Japan?
Hmm. I don't know.
You know, and this is not to bash any developer or publisher, but just like for Americans, I'm sorry, we gotta go out and support games that if they review well, if we read the reviews and stuff, we gotta go out and support it. I know someone did a story saying that Game Pass has kind of ruined the want for buying the game, but I don't think that's true. I think that Game Pass helps get a game noticed. And then if you want to go buy it, you can get it cheaper digitally. That's more money for that company than the retail store stuff. But I'm like, if you see a great game that's fitting and stuff, go out and buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people may be waiting for it to become cheaper, but that doesn't help that developer in a sense. You know, it might cause some confusion. They'll be like, okay, why did we just jump up 45% of sales? Oh, because Best Buy had the game for $30.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because like, what's going to happen when Switch Deluxe come out and game sales, if possibly be in the millions or 2 millions and stuff? And I'm not just talking about Nintendo themselves. I'm talking about third and indies and stuff, mostly third party. Because what if that Avion game do come to Switch Deluxe and it does a million in one day? Then what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well. I don't know. My brain's frozen. I'm tired. It's past midnight, so I'm sorry.
So everybody, we are going to be talking about the Wizard. I know I mentioned that was going to be our next expansion pass. But a lot of discussion about Switch 2 has been happening, so we wanted to talk about that and give you guys time to watch it. So next episode, we will be talking about the Wizard. So get your popcorn ready, rent the movie, or if you own it, watch it, take notes and everything. We are going to discuss that next time on Nintendo Expansion Pass. With that, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
If you want to be a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushMedia, and find out which tier is right for you. Our Patreon producers at the $5 tier or higher for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. Thank you for your continued support.